I think it's almost inevitable that there will be some type of black swan event between now and then.
Now, one of the things that we've seen recently is that we're seeing a lot more physical delivery off the exchanges. And these exchanges weren't necessarily always meant for, a delivery exchange, essentially. It was mainly just for hedging. Can you share with the viewers kind of how that has changed and what that means for the market going forward?
Well, this is conjecture, but let's say a highly educated guess. I look at the COMEX particularly, and the LBMA to a lesser degree as being car dealerships that display all the new cars. They're there as a big facility, a big market maker. But yet what they really have is they have silver on display. They don't really facilitate transactions, as you just said, Elijah, and that's key. And so when you start going into the LBMA, or you take silver off the SLV or PSLV or whatever, in other words, if you start taking silver primarily from the LBMA and or the COMEX, that's the last resort. That's the place of last resort. Anyone that's in the silver business, even on the retail side, but particularly on the industrial side, goes direct. They go direct with a refiner or a smelter or somebody that's a direct ship. They don't need to ship a bar to the COMEX to ship it back to, a mint. So there's very little silver that goes on the shelves other than what can only be sold on the spot market. The rest of it's sold in various places, jewelries, and of course, all kinds of industrial applications. So the point is, it's drying up. It's drying up before our eyes. And if they had any way to hide it, they would. They can't. And so they're showing us that, the registered category keeps showing them away. The thing that's surprising to me, I guess, this time is the last couple times I recall well, the 32, 33 million ounces. It was there for a little while, like a few weeks, to the best of my memory, and then it started building back up. And then, of course, I always ask the question, well, where's that silver coming from? But this time, it just keeps going down, down, down. I mean, it fluctuates, but mostly the trend is still down. And there doesn't seem to be any influx. So I think between what's needed for the semiconductor industry, what's needed for the solar panel industry, what's needed for the industrial use on aggregate, has got silver in a pretty tight position. And what we really need is another influx of, committed precious metals people to buy. And I think that's coming in a different way than most people do. And I think that's going to be through the advent of the cryptocurrency world. There's a lot of silver and gold backed cryptos out there, and there'll be more. And I think the only issue that's holding it back now is awareness. I think the awareness of gold is the ultimate stable coin. I mean, think about it. An ounce of gold is the same mass anywhere in the universe. That's stability. The US dollar, which is what's called the stable coin on most of these platforms, it's a fiat currency that's going downhill over time. So if you want a standard, if you really want a stable something, that's what your stable coin would be. And that's kind of ironic because we talk about coin. And of course, gold is considered, a lot of coinage in gold. So there's a lot ahead of us. And I think a lot of it is not only to be determined, but I think a lot of the powers that be that are kind of smug and arrogant on, where they're going to push the next system, maybe a little ahead of themselves because there is a lot of resistance to what's happening.
And looking at towards the end of the year, what is your perspective on where metals will be? Because it seems like, we're seeing, a pause by the Fed, but you're saying that interest rates still have higher to go. Can you kind of share with the viewers where you see them heading?
They're high. They're going higher. They're going higher if interest rates go up. They're going higher if interest rates go down. They're going higher if interest rates just pause and stay paused for a long time. The metals are the only way out at the end game. I mean, there's exceptions. I mean, there's certain businesses and there's, foodstuffs and there's other things. But when it comes to on the financial or monetary side, it gets to be one place to run. And that's run out of stocks, run out of bonds, run out of, limited partnerships, run out of ETFs and run into the metal. And that won't happen to the level that it happened in the past as far as awareness. I think there's a lot more awareness in my generation of why people run metals. They understood fiat collapses, currency collapses. Today, that's not true. But people also have social media, so there's a lot of monkey see, monkey do. And when somebody's influencer says something about why precious metals are key at this point in time, and they never heard that story before, they will likely follow on. So I still think by the end of the year, you'll have stronger prices. I think it's going to be the last quarter of this year. I think it's almost inevitable that there will be some type of black swan event between now and then. Could be, could be grid down in some areas. It could be a computer hack at a money center. It could be another crypto conundrum. There's several things out there. But the main thing is the shift has gone to a pause on the precious metals investors. They're like, I'm happy, I've got enough. I don't need to buy anymore. I'm hedged. I don't need more. And that's the place to be. I mean, I've never advocated 100% in, but I have advocated everybody owns some. And we're far from that point, Elijah. It's very, very far from everybody. And once the window closes, and it's very difficult to get anything, at least at a reasonable price, that's when the frenzy will actually get into probably a double parabolic. I mean, there's no such thing as a double parabolic, but what it insinuates is that buying it just goes higher and higher and higher and higher and higher. Eventually it'll burn out. But at that point, if it gets to that point, and I think it will be a key that the end is nigh. In other words, the new system better be implemented quickly because no one's trusting the dollar anymore in terms of gold.